Hey everybody, welcome to Revitalize ReConnect Meets, where I get the opportunity to meet a business owner, a business entrepreneur, and a key influencer from across the UK business community. And today I have not just got one guest with me today, I've got two wonderful guests with me today to find out about their business and about their business journey. The first guest I have with me has previous roles and experiences as director of the Kildrummy cost management software, head of sales in Kildrummy, and also lead developer in Kildrummy. He started his business and incorporated back in November 2015 and has now been in business for 5 years with Mesomorphic. Can you please welcome this morning and today the one and only Mr. Barnaby Mercer. Hello Barnaby, how are you today?
Good morning, Lee. I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And for our guest number two, we have a lady with us who's got previous roles and experiences in software consultant, a cost management software, data coordinator analyst in the benchmarking in the oil and gas industry, a community class teacher in community learning and development, and also a Keras data processor in the oil and gas industry. Years in business and working with the same company with Barnaby for 3.5 years. Can you please welcome Maria Bell. Maria, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Lee. And yourself?
I'm very well indeed. Thank you very much. And I'm so pleased that both of you have joined me today. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. So I would like to start off first with Mr. Barnaby Mercer, if you don't mind, and looking at the business itself in Mesomorphic. Where did it all begin and what is it all about, Barnaby?
Well, Mesomorphic began when I, to be honest, reached the end of my tether with what I was doing. It was time for a change, and that's where the morphic part came in. It was time for a change of shape. I needed to grow. Needed to get back to what I was doing in software development rather than sales. And so I decided to take the plunge and start building software again rather than selling software. So Mesomorphic, the idea behind it really is to move away from being driven by profit and be driven by perhaps some higher ideals. I had a vision about how I wanted the company to work and how I wanted personally to work, how I wanted my life to be. So that's why I decided to take charge of that.
Brilliant. And how is it, what is it that people look at when they look at the company and your company itself? How do you assist many connections across the UK with the business?
Well, we're first and foremost a company about people. And I think that's something that is often misunderstood about technology. We're not all just nerds stuck behind our computers the whole time. We are a team, and it's important that a team gets on well and has strong relationships with both our customers and internally, but also very important to us, the wider community, not just the business community, but schools and young people in particular. We want to encourage and grow. So as I say, it's more than being about profit for us. It's about doing something valuable locally, but hopefully for the world.
Brilliant, because you've got a wide reach, not just sort of Scotland, the UK, you do have a global reach, is that correct?
Well, we have ambitions for a global reach, but we've often, we've very deliberately thought in terms of concentric circles. So we're starting very close to home, making the improvements we can locally and growing outwards. And so yeah, Scotland is deliberately a target market for us. We don't want to overextend, but obviously at the same time, we want to grow outwards at a sustainable rate.
Brilliant. Absolutely superb. And with all the achievements that's going on at the minute, I really wanted to come over to Maria now. And we spoke briefly sort of last week prior to setting up today's sort of interview with yourself and Barnaby. With everything that you've achieved in your previous roles, and especially within the business of Mesomorphic in that way as well, is what has been the biggest highlights and achievements for yourself, Maria?
That's actually a really good question. I mean, I've been thinking a lot about the achievements that we've done as a company, and I feel that one of our biggest achievements is some of the projects we've actually carried out already. One of our clients actually won quite a prestigious award using or providing a service using the software that we've helped create with them. So that was actually quite a big win for us. But also the other achievements is the work that we've been doing more locally as well. As Barnaby mentioned earlier, we are quite a people-centric business, and we've now been able to sort of really work and focus on our recruitment pipeline. So we're now active in primary schools, and there's a bit more work going on there. We do collaboration events with local providers like SDS, for example. And we offer code clubs, which not only teaches the pupils the starting of coding, but also to empower the teachers as well, because we're finding that as children are going through school, computing isn't necessarily something that's taught in great detail at school, and it's a constantly evolving field as well. So once we start to get that initial interest started at school, we're finding it's starting to sort of flow through to secondary school. And actually not long before lockdown, I finally managed to establish some really strong connections with the secondary schools, which I'm still tendering at the moment. And once lockdown gets out of the way and things go back to that new normal, we're going to be able to go into secondary schools, do more career talks, and we're also well established at the moment, and we're leading the way to do work experience in Shetland, and we want to sort of continue to build on that. So that's actually been a huge achievement for us, is to get that range of ages involved in what we're doing, and sort of really pushing to inspire the next generation.
I think it's sort of like you're inspiring the young to come through, and especially with the likes of the way it looks with Mesomorphic, the way it's all working and everything else. Do you feel that that's more the angle, the more the audience that you're going down towards, it's more of the sort of younger generation coming through as a domino effect for them to pass on the knowledge?
Well, ideally, yes, we want to engage that next generation. With the way that technology is moving at the moment, the way that the economy is moving as well, there are more digital jobs. But it's not necessarily just about inspiring the next generation of developers as such. Software development is such a creative industry, and there's so many different digital technologies that are springing up. So it's equipping them with that spark of inspiration to actually think, okay, so I'm good at maths, or I'm good at problem solving, or I've got a creative streak. I don't necessarily have to follow those traditional job roles that are commonly pushed in schools, and there's nothing wrong with those, but it's thinking, what other options do I have? And given where we are as well, we have got a surprisingly large digital economy, and this is something I've been sort of speaking to people quite a lot about the last few weeks, and we're calling it the Silicon Croft. You've got Silicon Valley, but we've got Silicon Croft happening in Shetland, and it's providing those opportunities for people who are coming through schools to, if they want to stay in Shetland and have all this, I mean, it's an incredible place to live. If they want to stay up here, there are those opportunities. They haven't got to go to the mainland to start their new career. They can stay here if they want, and sort of go from there, really.
Absolutely superb. I think it's wonderful what you're doing, and sort of cultivating, nurturing, and bringing that force forward with you. So it's absolutely very refreshing, is probably the word to think of it. Moving into where yourselves being Barnaby and looking at the sort of like even your achievements and successes, I have to say congratulations on completing the MIT residential entrepreneurship course as well, and successfully founding Mesomorphic on there as well, and how you've done that over so many years since 2015. For someone who's looking to start up their business or starting their first steps, because you are working with the sort of younger audience, would you be able to share a golden tip of advice for someone who's just looking to be that entrepreneur, start up their business? What would you tell that person just now?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there are actually, when I thought about this question, there are two bits of advice I would give, and they're related. The first is you need to have a strong vision. You need to understand why you're going into business. I don't think it's sufficient to simply want to do a thing or to have an idea. You need to fully, I guess, dig into what starting a business means to you, because it can actually mean you spend less time doing the thing you enjoy. You end up hiring people to do the thing you enjoy. So having a strong vision and brainstorming, mind mapping that, really digging into what that means to you, because that's important for the next bit of advice, which is get some friends, get some people along on this journey with you. Nobody can do this on their own. I've been very lucky to have Maria. I was able to sell her on the idea, and it was because of the vision, because I was able to articulate to her the ideals and the reasons and the motivations that, you know, I was able to persuade her to join me. So without the vision, it's going to be hard to get people along, and you really, really need people along with you on the journey.
Yeah, they're two great bits of advice, and I think I'd have to agree with you both as well, especially Barnaby. It's that a lot of people go in with an idea of what they want to do and how they want to do it, but the vision starts to get slightly diluted as the time goes along. They forget about where it all began from, and it turns into something completely different in years to come. But if you can keep that vision strong and solid all the way through and have the right people around you, the right team, the right friends, and they can brainstorm and look at ideas and bring fresh ideas into it and build upon that foundation. 100%.
Exactly. And without a strong vision, you run the risk of just ending up with a wishy-washy, yet another kind of business, which doesn't reflect your character or your ambitions. It gets, as you say, it gets watered down, it gets diluted, and you end up doing things how they've been done elsewhere because that's the default.
Yeah, bad habits. Pick up bad habits. You don't have the bad habits in place. Would you agree with that, Maria?
I would, yeah. And I was just about to say that with the vision, it's really important, especially when you're starting up any companies, to have that vision ingrained in your culture, because the company culture is what helps to keep that vision alive. And it's not just what's happening in the office, it's what's happening in your digital marketing, for example, or when we're having situations like this and we're talking to people, and, you know, we're not just selling the company and the services, we're selling as Barney mentioned, the why we're doing this. And that's so crucial for when building up relationships and things like that. And that is what gets people talking about the company. And again, if you can sell that vision, then you're pretty much on a good step there.
It's funny because I was talking about that with somebody yesterday, and I mean, my strap line you see on my banner stands behind, but it's always been about the people less than the product and services that you're selling. It's always about the individuals, because that's who you're really investing your time into. Is that person is investing time into Maria and into Barnaby to find out more about them. And as you nurture and cultivate and build that relationship up, then it starts getting a wider reach, and for people understanding, like you just mentioned there, is the why. So thank you very much. Thanks for answering that. So I'm going to come to yourself, Barnaby, and also Maria, to really respond on this one. But with everything that's gone on over the last 8 to 9 weeks, we've had a lot of diversification. We've had a lot of the digital world expanding with the powers of Zoom, where you can see that one today. How have you diversified your business over the last 8 to 9 weeks? What's been the biggest differences or changes that you've made for the better?
Well, we're fortunate really in that the company we have is ideally suited to lockdown. We've long worked remotely. We're used to the digital technologies. We've always done screen sharing and, you know, these sort of virtual meetings. So not much of that has changed for us really. We're missing each other a bit on the face-to-face time, but yeah. So in that regard, we've been quite resilient already. We're also diversification and kind of change is part of Mesomorphic's DNA. It's something that is right there in our vision, is to remain adaptable and flexible and fluid and to be able to change. So I realize I'm answering your question by saying we haven't needed to. You know, we've been very lucky. It goes back to the vision. Our resilience has been built in. If we need to diversify, and as I say, it's part of our DNA, we do. It's looking at the opportunities that this sort of lockdown has created for us. How can we help other people resolve their problems? What products or services can we perhaps offer? So we've done a lot of work to support our clients and indeed our friends and family through this.
Yeah, definitely. Would you agree with that as well, Maria?
Yeah, absolutely. So when lockdown first started, it was quite funny actually. Barnaby messaged me saying, just had this idea about, you know, maybe doing a blog series about how we can sort of share our knowledge and help other people. I sent him a photograph back straight away going, what, like this list? And I've been brainstorming ideas down. So that sort of started off the first set of blog posts that are on our website just now, and it's looking at different tools and methods that we use, and different methodologies, and talking about some of the online tools that we use as well. And it's actually one thing I'm finding, the reason why I'm grinning like a absolute fool at the moment is that I was actually speaking to someone the other day about the article that I wrote on continuous improvement. And again, that's so key to what we do and our company. And it's talking about the office lily that I inherited. Soon when the office locked down, I bought all the plants back, and I'm genuinely surprised they're still alive. But I used the experiences I had with that to talk about the continuous improvement. I've actually had some really interesting feedback from that, from people who've read the article and gone, right, so I've actually started doing this. What do I do next? And we've been talking about retrospectives. There's been a lot of offline things going on, which I find actually really incredible. But one thing we have also taken the opportunity to do is, as you're aware, there's a lot of virtual networking going on just now. So I have been sort of dipping in and out of different events and meeting so many different people. And it's been a great opportunity for me to really fine tune what it is that we're doing, because there's so many different things that Mesomorphic does, as well as software development. It's been a great opportunity sort of sharing what it is that we're doing. And again, as mentioned earlier, it's like really pushing what Shetland is. It's not just, Shetland ponies and puffins and all those great stuff. Don't get me wrong, well, apart from Shetland ponies, but that's another different conversation. There's so much going on here, and it's been really good just for people to sort of see what's happening outside of the cities. So yeah, it's been quite good that way.
I think you've both touched on something there. You've got something that's working extremely well right now, and going into this, you're doing what you normally do. Mm-hmm. What you touched on there was there's a lot of people reflecting back on what their message is and redefining their message. Now, my business is on virtual, it is on networking, it is bringing people together. It's having those conversations in different layers that you do. Mm-hmm. But I look at it this way: you've got the car, it's driving on the motorway. You stop at the services now and again. You pop the bonnet up, and then you have a look inside, and you're tweaking a bit of the engine to make it more refined and better performance. So that's the brain swarming. That's the brains swarming that's in there, or the brainstorming. We used to call it brain swarming when I used to work for an American company. So yeah, 100%. And I think that's right. You need to reflect, but also it's educating everybody else about what Barnaby and Maria do within the business that you run.
And I think there's a bit of a fine balance going on there. We've always been quite keen on sharing our knowledge and sharing what it is that we do and everything like that. But I also find it's quite important just to sort of leave the tidbits there for people to sort of digest, because nobody wants anything to be shoved down their throat, which is why we find the blog post really quite interesting, and the impact that they've had and the conversations that come out of it. As people have gone back to I've been getting really into my Google Analytics recently and watching sort of like how many people come back to the websites and where they go. And the blog posts are actually proved to be really, really popular, because people go in, take a little bit from it, go back and sort of try and see if it works for them or not. So yeah, that's been really, really quite interesting to sort of watch the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's interesting how it's unfolding, especially for yourself and Barnaby. So with everything that's gone on, the diversification with the business, the fine tuning, the achievements, the highlights, the golden nuggets that you're building, the brainstorming that we're having, what's the next step for Mesomorphic, for Barnaby and for Maria? So what is the next step? What's the next door of opportunity for you both and the business? Barnaby?
We're always thinking about next steps. We're always looking kind of just down the road. We run an agile company, as I've sort of mentioned, and that's about having a long-term ambition and a near-term set of steps. And our vision has always been to have our own products, our own internal tools, to spin off additional companies to support those products. We have a number of products underway, one of which is a mathematics training game we're very excited about. We're looking forward to releasing that. We're working with some great people to do that, because yeah, I mean, who doesn't enjoy playing computer games and children, so it ticks another box for us. So next steps for us are to progress some of our other ideas. We have what we call the Vault, which is our repository of ideas, and on the daily we put new ideas in there. So we've got more ideas than we can possibly have time for. So it's, select the best ones, work on those. But most importantly, I think it's continue to grow the team, but grow the skills and the strengths of the team, improve our processes, improve our ways of working, our efficiencies, and continue to do what we're doing.
Superb. Is there anything else you'd add to that, Maria?
I think for myself personally, for my next steps is I really want to continue to build on the work that I was doing with the local schools, just to make sure that we're getting that pipeline. And actually, I was just thinking back to some of the conversations I've had in the last few weeks. I've been talking to people about shorter term apprenticeships, because we run the graduate apprenticeship scheme for software development as part of an onboarding tool. However, I've had quite a few interesting conversations around like the foundation apprenticeships, and been really surprised to hear about the uptake of people who have been onboarding their apprentices remotely, which at the moment I'm not 100% sure where that would sit with us because of everything else that's going on. But I think what I really want to do is to take some of the knowledge I've sort of gained in the last few weeks and sit down with more post-it notes. To be honest, I've got so many different post-it notes, and see how else we can sort of improve our pipeline further to, again, see how, just to keep on making sure we are providing as many local opportunities as possible.
Super.
Bring it to me.
So you've got plenty of work on your in the books to keep working on. I like the sounds of the mathematics, and especially the games that you're going to be producing. So I'm looking forward to seeing much more on that coming very soon for the next steps for yourselves. If everybody who's listening and watching today, how can they get in touch with Maria and Barnaby from Mesomorphic? What's the best route of communication with you both? How can they get in touch?
Well, we have our website, which is www.mesomorphic.co.uk. And I'm also found on LinkedIn, as is Barnaby. And so if you want to get in touch with myself, and we can go from there.
Fantastic. Would you like to add anything else to that, Barnaby?
No, thank you.
That touches everything on there for us. So
yeah.
I want to say a big thank you to you both for joining me today at ReConnect Meets. Thank you. And I wish you all the very success with Mesomorphic and how it's all going to be. I can see a big vision and a big opportunity on the road ahead, on the horizon. But if you do have further questions, anybody's listening, I would highly recommend that you reach out to Maria and to Barnaby to find out more about what Mesomorphic can do for you, for your business, and also for your connections that you may have in the educational arena, that audience. Thanks again to Maria and for Barnaby for being with us today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend when it arrives, and I look forward to seeing everybody at the next edition of Revitalize ReConnect Meets, where I'll be meeting the next business owner, entrepreneur, and key influencer from across the UK business community. Stay safe, everybody, and keep well. See you soon. Bye-bye for now.